Hello, back to this course, Golang Microservices full course in the my YouTube channel. Okay, now we are going to talk about optimistic locking, optimistic locking in the database, and why we use that, why we use this instead of pessimistic locking. Okay, so here is the thing. In the wallet system, sometimes we will face about race condition, which is mean that we have double transaction or double spending, or spending. So this is how to solve the concurrency problem with optimistic locking. And in payment transaction we have version column, right? Wait, it's not, I think the DB that we have is this one. If we have the init.up the wallets, we have a version which is used for us optimistic locking, and now we are going to implement that. So we will cover this to save, or maybe to make our transaction process is safe and with database transaction. The SQL.tx, we have already covered this SQL.tx in the previous video, and then currently we are going to talk about the rest condition and then the solution. Imagine we have two scenario that occurred in the milliseconds time, in the same millisecond time. Two scenarios are something like user A has balance about 100, and then the second one is user A transfer to user B about 70, and then in the same time user A withdraw the 50. So this should be not, if we have not already use optimistic or pessimistic locking, this will have a 120 transaction, and it should be more than 100. This can make us this can make the system, or people that have the system, lost their money. So this is the how it's work, because if server let them go parallel without concurrency control, this will, what they do, thread 1 is reading balance user A about 100, and then reduce it to 30, reduce it with 70, so equal 30. But the thread 2 also reading the balance user A 100, this happened before thread 1 done writing, and then he reduce 50, so equal 50. This cannot be happen because the real transaction should be 100 minus 70 minus 50, which is minus 20, and should be rejected. But if this not handled, it will be still the balance can be 30 or 50 if this not prevented. So why we use optimistic locking? There have two solution to solve this rest condition, which is pessimistic locking and optimistic locking. Okay, why this one? Okay, yeah, let it be lah. Then the pessimistic locking is locking the table where process less concurrent, and optimistic locking is using the version control concurrent more but check version before update. This one is true, and for the pessimistic locking, right, if we lock the table the database until transaction done, it would be safe but so slow because blocking other thread, right? Because the other thread is waiting, queuing. But the optimistic locking, it will not blocking the other query or other thread. So this safe but faster, safe and faster, because faster, just call it faster because it no blocking other thread, only check version before update. Yeah, so if the other thread updating the data, update the data, so the version in the database should be incremented, and our query can be checking, right? How to do that, we are going to code in this episode. So what the first step is modify the wallet repository here, and we need to make it use database transaction. We are going to add the update tx balance update balance tx, because we use sql.tx. okay, context tx as tx sql.tx, and then wallet id should be string, and new balance float 64, and current version could integer and we return an error. Okay, and then we do add the function here, our MySQL wallet repository, and then like this, and just this. Okay, so query equal to update wallets, set the balance, and then the version equal version plus 1, where id and version equal this one, so the result should be tx execute context, and then context query new balance wallet and current version. If error we return error, if no, then we check the rows affected is using rows result dot rows affected, and if this error we return an error. And then if the rows affected is 0, if zero rows affected, then the database, it means version is not, it means database version has changed. The concurrency conflict. Okay, and then we return new error optimistic log file. No, I mean concurrent update detected version mismatch. Okay, then we go to the domain transaction. We create a new domain, make directory p internal transaction model and internal transaction repository, internal transaction service, and internal transaction handler. So in this transaction folder we create a model first, which is tx.go. We package model and then type transaction as a struct, and id can be string, should be string id, and then sender wallet id, it string JSON sender wallet id. It can be nullable if top up. So receiver wallet should be receiver should be not like this, and then amount string, and then JSON amount, and then description. So I'm sorry, this should be float description string, JSON description created at. Okay, this one should be okay. This created at control space. I import this one. We can control space to import, and then after idempotency key. Idempotency key, we need to have this one. Idempotency key, and then status string JSON. Okay, then the transfer struct, type transfer request set struct. We need to have receiver email, should be string, and JSON receiver email, and then binding, we add the binding, should be required, and email, and amount float JSON bind JSON amount binding required GT0. Okay, it is good. Description should be description, no need to require. And the last one is idempotency key, should be idempotency key binding required. Okay, this one good. Okay, we done with this, and then we create a repository transaction. Repository.go package repository should be type transaction repository. An interface, and then create tx ctx context and tx SQL.tx and t as a model. The transaction should be model transaction, this one. In the that is this, not this one, the second one. Okay, model dot transaction and error get user get by idempotency key. It should be get idempotency key, get by idempotency key as a ctx context and then key as a string, and return should be model transaction and error. Yeah, this one. Okay, type my SQL transaction repository as a struct like this, and then new MySQL transaction repository db SQL.db transaction repository. Yeah, this one should be okay. And then we need to have create the transaction method quick fix. Okay, like this. Func r MySQL transaction, just like this. First we need to check insert into transaction. Okay, the query should be insert into transaction, yes, and then ID, sender wallet ID, receiver wallet ID, amount, description, idempotency key, status, and values should be this one, and execute context, ctx query, the ID, the sender wallet ID, the receiver, the amount, the description, the idempotency key, and status, and return error. So for the idempotency key, get by idempotency key, I think the query should be select ID, sender wallet ID, receiver wallet ID, amount, description, idempotency key, status, created at from transactions, where idempotency key, question marks. And yes, this one model the transaction. Okay, so this one var sender SQL.null string, and if it error r.db.query row context, and then scan one by one, and then if error equal to nil, we return nil. If error is not nil, we return the error, and then if sender is valid, we t.sender wallet ID equal to sender string. Okay, this one should be okay, and then can save, and then we add the full transaction service and service.go. Okay, service.go, we need to have starting the DB transaction, and then looking for the sender wallet and receiver wallet, and then validate the balance, if the balance receiver balance is enough or not, and then we reduce the sender, so like the start DB transaction, and then look for sender and receiver wallet and validate sender wallet is enough or not, and then reduce sender wallet and add receiver wallet with TX and checking version as a optimistic cooking, and then create data transaction record, and then create two ledger rows, debit for sender and credit for receiver. Wait, debit for sender, wait, okay, and then commit the DB transaction. I think this should be okay. Then package service, and then we create a transaction service, transaction service interface transfer gtx context, then sender user ID as a string, and then rec should be model.transfer request, and the return is model.request, model.transaction, and error. This should be okay, and then we start the struct. Yeah, we create the struct first. Transaction service struct, which is DB, go to SQLDB, control space, control space would be SQL, and then tx repository should be transaction, and transaction is repository, and then use repo as a use repo dot use repository. So I add this one, I'm sorry, user repo should be internal user repository, and then the order is wallet repo should be, wait, we are going to import first, and then ledger repo, yeah, ledger repo, okay, wallet repo dot wallet repository ledger repo dot ledger repository dot, yeah, ledger repo dot ledger repository, and then we create a new transaction function, new transaction service should be DB tx repo urepo wallet repo. Okay, this one urepo w repo, and then So to make it simple, then urepo, wrepo, lrepo, like this, and then we add a function service transaction, and then transaction service is like this. We just copy from this one. Yeah, we have a context, sender user ID as a string, request as a model transfer request, and model transaction, and then error. This one should be okay. Okay, wait, then we need to here move here. Okay, we need to check idempotency key, this is for checking to not reprocess the same request. Yeah, okay, first is existing s.txrepo.get by idempotency key. Like if existing is not nil, then return existing and nil. Stop the transaction right after the idempotency key is found. Okay, if not found, then we look for receiver by email, receiver user, error receiver get by email. Yeah, this one should be okay. We can use custom error here. I want to add custom error as a wait, why is custom error middleware error? github.com Golang monolith internal custom error. Okay, custom error as a new error, and receiver not found, custom error status error not found, status not found, new app error. Okay, wait, new app error http, wait, so should be http dot status not found, and then we add a receiver not found. Okay, then start the DB transaction as tx error. Okay, this one should be tx, and then if error equal nil, if error not nil, it should be return nil, and custom error and internal server error. Wait, the custom error is not working. With I want to see the custom error. Okay, here custom error, internal error server, and then don't forget for the differ tx.rollback. Okay, this one should be, this one is a must. And then look for receiver, look for sender and receiver, should be sender wallet equal error, get user by ID, is it okay? As dot wallet repo, get by user ID, sender user ID, and then if no, then wallet not found. Sender wallet not found. Sender wallet not found. Okay, and then after that we need to receiver wallet. Receiver wallet should be error is s.wallet repo get by user ID, and then context receiver user dot ID. Okay, and then we just copy paste here, and receiver wallet not found. Receiver wallet not found. And we checking sender cannot be the same. Sender and receiver cannot be the same. So we check first if sender wallet dot ID is equal to receiver wallet dot ID. It should be self transfer, cannot transfer to self account. Yeah, this one. Invalid transfer, maybe invalid transfer. And we check the balance. Is it enough or no? If sender wallet balance less than request.amount, we return the pet request insufficient balance. Okay, and then we update the balance with the optimistic locking. So new sender balance, sender wallet balance minus write dot amount, and error if as a wallet repo update balance if error is like this. I want to have s.wallet update balance transaction context sender wallet ID and the new sender balance and sender wallet version. If error is not nil, it should be because if fail because version mismatch, return error, return special error, so client can retry like this. Yeah, return error, custom error, and new app error. It should be Patrick status HTTP status conflict and concurrency conflict transaction cannot be processed. Please retry the request. Yeah, can ping B retry transaction is busy, please retry in the following minutes. This error is up to you. Yeah, and then after that new receiver balance, yeah, correct, the receiver balance wallet that balance should be plus request.amount, and then error s wallet repo update balance transaction context tx receiver wallet new receiver balance receiver wallet version, and if error also written the same as this one, the error the same that the new sender, sender error. Okay, we still have an error in here. Wait a second. Okay, we save first the transaction record, which is transaction ID. We add the UUID and new and string, and then transaction should we model the transaction model dot transaction transaction, and then ID transaction ID, and sender wallet should be sender wallet ID, receiver wallet ID, amount should be rec amount, description, idempotency key, status success, and if error, so tx repo create tx and ctx transaction error not nil return custom error internal server error. Okay, and then we create the ledger transaction, the debit entry, and then s dot ledger repo and create tx and context tx debit entry. No, sorry, debit entry should be, this should be if error, but this should be the ledger model. We don't have ledger model for, okay, we ledger model should be the, wait, I want to comment this one first. Okay, ledger model, okay, this ledger, ledger model, ledger entry, so the ID should be UUID as well, UUID, and then there was wallet ID should be wallet ID, receiver wallet dot ID. First was is sender, should be sender wallet dot ID, and then transaction ID is transaction ID, and then entry type is debit, and then amount is rec dot amount, and if error should be written custom error internal server error. Okay, we also create the order which is credit entry, and then this should be credit, and then this should be receiver wallet rec amount, debit rec amount, this should be debit entry, this should be credit entry, ledger repo. Okay, and then the last one is commit the transaction. If error tx.commit, and then error is not nil, we return internal error server, and then if no, we return the transaction dot created at equal to sender wallet dot updated at, return the transaction. Okay, this should be okay, and then later we will test this one, and for now we just already cover the code first, and if we recall, we just check the idempotency key. This is used for not reprocess the same request, and then we starting the DB transaction and roll back if anything not works or anything error. And then we use optimistic locking, right? The optimistic locking is here. Read the sender wallet and check it. This one also called optimistic locking process. Okay, okay, we will check out the branch should be a feature and 008, right? 08, right? 008 or 08, okay, 008. Maybe optimistic locking. Okay, we generate implement transaction service. Okay, commit, and we publish the branch, and then we pull rack as usual, and then later we merge, quit pull rack, and yeah, I think that's all. See you in the next tutorial video tutorial. Thank you.